You started.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a Bros Talking Soccer Christmas Eve special. My name is Dave Knittel, here with my two brothers, Christian and Matt, to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian, hello.
Hello, David.
Christian's looking up trivia. Matt, hello.
Hello.
You are looking very fancy.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is that all? Okay. So we
You are not.
are going to have polo, semi-fancy. I am wearing sweatpants, and I am doing laundry right now. So I am currently going commando, guys. So there's that.
Discount double check.
Yeah.
That.
So yeah, how do you feel, being so close to me with that situation going on?
I'm gonna leave.
Yeah, totally. I don't know why I can't hear this right now. Let me make sure you guys can hear all of this.
It's on mute. That's probably why.
It is on mute. No, it's on mute. There we go. Okay, good. So that is live. All right, we're gonna jump right into things because it's Christmas Eve and we have church to go to and lots still going on. Yeah, Christian's got FIFA squad builders to do, so we're gonna hop right into
Which one, Dave?
this thing.
Which one is it?
Kevin De Bruyne one, right?
Yeah,
Is that what you mean?
93.
There you go. All right, but we have the YouTube up here in the background. Say hello and interact with us as we go along here. All right, let's get into things. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Bros Talking Soccer podcast, episode 105. My name is Dave Knittel, here with my two brothers, Christian and Matt, to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian, hello.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm great, Dave. Thank you for asking.
All right, good stuff. Matt, hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Dave. Thank you for asking.
You are welcome. Guys, I'm doing well. Thank you both for asking me. I appreciate that. Listeners, Merry Christmas. It is Christmas Eve. We're going to do things a little bit differently now. We got a lot going on, so we're not going to do different segments. You're not going to hear a lot of editing with this podcast. It's just going to be kind of stream of consciousness, and we'll go from there. We didn't get a chance to
So is it just Christian's Corner then?
It's just Christian's Corner, yes. We didn't get a chance to do the live podcast during a game this weekend. Hopefully we'll be able to do that at some point in the future, but yeah, we didn't get to do that. But we will get into a couple topics today and then answer a few listener questions. This should be a relatively short podcast. Christian, do you have a trivia question, or Matt, would you like to say something before we get to that?
Yeah, hopefully in the future, but I'm trying to think of when we could all, because you stream.
Yeah, I stream, so I'm
all
always
different times.
I'm always a little bit delayed, so I don't know when that will happen. So that's why I said hopefully at some point in the future. I'm not sure.
Okay, and then I was putting it together. I was like, oh, this is the last time we'll all be together.
Sad.
Ever.
Okay. Christian, do you have our trivia question?
I do have a trivia question. It's about our favorite Mo Salah this week.
Okay.
Can you believe it? All right, so question this week is, he has now become the leader in the last 2 seasons of scoring and assisting in the same game. How many times has he done that?
Okay. All right. Sounds like a plan. We will think on that. Listeners, you'll think as well, and we'll give our guesses at the end. And all right, well, let's jump right into things. Before we do that, I want to give a couple quick plugs for our partners because we're not going to have the breaks. So first up, Stadium Scene. Didn't do this beforehand, guys. You want to give a quick plug for Stadium Scene? Christian, get ahead.
Sure. Please visit our friends at stadiumscene.tv to check out any type of information you need to know when visiting a stadium in the US or Canada. They have events in the area. They have what bars to go to. They have parking. They have restaurants. They have all that type of good stuff that you need to know when you're going to a new place. So definitely go check them out.
Yeah. Additionally, they partner with content creators like ourselves to offer all kinds of different sports content, not just soccer, all like North American sports. Be sure to check them out at stadiumscene.tv. Also, you can listen to podcasts.
Like us?
Yeah, like us. Listen to podcasts, videos,
YouTube
blogs,
blogs, yeah.
Blog posts.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's social media goodness.
Yeah. Again, stadiumscene.tv.
Yeah, so check them out. Additionally, we have a partner, FNX.network. They're similar to Stadium Scene, but have more variety. So outside of just sports, so they have content about video games, entertainment, lifestyle, tech, and more. All of that is available on FNX.network. Again, podcasts, YouTube videos, blog posts, and our stuff's there as well as tons of other content. Go check them out at FNX.network. Okay, the 3 things we wanted to talk about today. I don't know, whatever. I'm just going to launch into it. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was the new MLS playoff system. So starting next year, we had talked about this on a previous podcast, but it became official. Starting next year, 7 teams from each conference are going to make the playoffs. There's 24 teams in total, so 7 out of 12 teams in each conference will make the playoffs. only the top seed will get a bye. The playoffs will last 3 weeks from the October international break to the November international break. And it's just going to be one match instead of 2 legs. So that's kind of the gist of the information, or gist, not just, because that doesn't make sense there. The gist of the information. Christian, what do you think about MLS going to this playoff structure?
I hate it. I really, really hate it. I think that each team should get a home and away game. That's just how soccer has always been, and that's how most sports other than the NFL is in the playoffs. There is more than one leg, and I think in soccer, really, home field advantage does make a huge difference. And I understand that playing in the regular season, you're playing for that at this point. But I just think that one game is just not a good indicator on the difference between the two sides.
Interesting. Matthew, thoughts?
I love it, like everything about it. I think to go against Christian's point where what, got a problem with it? Yeah, it's you kind of right now with the aggregate, you kind of don't really have home field advantage, even though you play all regular season and there are so many teams that make the playoffs that it's basically just like a whole nother season in and of itself in the playoffs. And the length of it previously made no sense with international breaks in the middle of playoffs. Now that's not going to happen. I think pretty much everything about this makes sense, and in the time of the year and the weather, I just agree with it.
Go ahead. There's really 7 teams out of 12 in each conference. That's way too many, and I understand with the goal of going to 28 teams in the future, so it'll be 14 and 14. But half the teams in the playoffs seems way too many.
I mean, every other American sport.
Yeah, most other American sports are right around that number.
I mean,
but
football's not, and this is following a football playoff structure.
Yeah, it's close. But so for me, in addition to what Matt said, just to throw a little numbers on some of the podcasts I've listened to, I think the official MLS one cited these numbers, but I think it's in a one-legged series, the home team wins about 67% of the time, but in a two-legged series, they only win about 52% of the time. So again, it's giving more advantage to teams that do better in the regular season. In addition to that, the thing that I like is that it almost, similar to what Matt said, it makes the playoffs feel like a completely different tournament because it almost deprioritizes it in the sense of it's really just 3 matches that teams need to win now. And I feel like, and with so many teams getting in, I feel like it puts more emphasis on the regular season to make that a real competition. And so if you win the Supporters Shield, which is the regular season title in MLS, I feel like it'll have more weight now. And I feel like with the playoffs being so kind of fluky and one-off wins, I hope that MLS Cup is almost like deprioritized to a certain extent because it is going to be something kind of fluky that a team gets hot at the right time and wins. So that's also kind of what I like about it. I feel like it's a completely different competition at that point. So that's what I really like about it.
So do you guys hate the Champions League then? Because this is what it was following that same structure.
Hate the Champions League? No.
So
it's a completely different competition.
It is a playoffs, though, pretty much.
Yeah, but the Champions League is pitted between like the best teams across Europe. And so there is no like qualification for the Champions League from the standpoint of they all played the same games for the regular season and all that. Everybody should start on a level playing field with the Champions League. With MLS Cup, I am okay with teams not starting on a level playing field and having it be a different competition.
But I mean, in the knockout stages of the Champions League, the team that finished higher gets home field advantage in the second leg. So that's what it was before.
Yeah, but that's proven to be not that big of an advantage.
I think it is significant.
You think it is, but the stats don't support that. Do you have any numbers to back that up other than just what you think it is?
Well, you watch the games. Like,
but again, that's subjective.
Is it?
Yes. Yes. So instead of 67% of the time where the higher seed goes through.
You have
so that is,
you just said the MLS.
That is from
where
MLS. They're from MLS.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know about
if you watch. No, the second team almost not every time, obviously, but in the round of 16 specifically, when that actually matters, that team usually wins.
Okay, well,
anecdotal.
We're also like. Yeah, we're not even talking about the MLS anymore. Champions League, the top 8 teams are usually better than the teams that come in second. Usually the top 8 just handle them, and that's why it ends like that. Because then after that, I don't think...
But that's the same thing in MLS. The top teams...
There is so much parity in the MLS. There is, like, anybody can win. What?
Yeah.
Sorry, Dave's not. It's making me laugh.
Yeah, no, but yeah, for me, you're not comparing apples to apples there. You're comparing apples to oranges.
Why can't fruit be compared?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can't. You can't do it, Matt. You just can't. Okay, that's a ridiculous thing to say. But for MLS, yeah, it's for me. It doesn't need to be the Champions League. We have CONCACAF Champions League. That can be the region's Champions League. Hopefully, or get involved in Copa Libertadores. But that's a whole different thing to go down. For me, I like that we're doing it a little bit differently. And I, again, get back to, I don't like that MLS Cup has such a priority right now for the league. It's almost like Supporter Shield is completely discounted. My hope with all of this is that Supporter Shield is almost elevated by this whole change. And again, MLS Cup will be its own sort of unique, different competition. So I'm in favor of this. I don't mind that more than half the teams get in. MLS is going to keep expanding, and I'm sure the playoffs are probably going to continue to change, but I like a lot about this.
I'm a little bothered by more than half the teams, but other than that, I think it's good.
I feel like if they're going to do it this way too, the championship should be played at a neutral site every year. I don't like that it's at the team with the best record.
But now with this, your fan base is only going to have 1 week to get to wherever. So having it at a neutral site it would just be catastrophic for attendance figures and for atmosphere. I like that a home team gets it because it's a better product for TV, and it's also, I think, just a better atmosphere overall. No? Right. Disagree?
Well, I think at the current state of the MLS, I agree with you, but in a couple of years,
there should be 2 weeks between the final and the semifinals and the final.
I don't agree with that. I think it's fine. I think I just disagree. Yeah.
Whatever.
Right. Left Jose. Okay. Got a comment here, which we'll get to. Whatever. We'll get to it right now. From Enjoy Your Pants on Twitter, said United left Jose. So that was the next topic we wanted to talk about anyways. Jose Mourinho is gone from Manchester United. I know, in case you haven't heard. Matt, what do you think about Jose, I believe, being fired? Was he officially fired?
Yes.
Okay, Jose being fired and timing of it.
Like he said, he's the special one. I mean, he just made $24 million in severance.
Would you say he's made like 60 million in severance?
No, it's some crazy number. One of my friends texted it was like 67 or like 80 million in severance throughout his career from just being fired.
It's either 67 or 80.
It's one of those, somewhere between there. Makes sense. Throughout his career, which is incredible how he just made that much at like how he continues to set his contracts up like that, and then people are like, oh my God, I can't believe he just made this amount of money. And then the next team's like, all right, yeah, here's more money if you get fired. I mean, the actual firing, we all knew was bound to happen. It was the appropriate time after not playing your best player in that game while sitting him on the bench and then losing and just having him watch the whole time, him not even warming up. It's like, all right, well, yeah, you're just asking to get fired at this point. He just wanted that paycheck and out of Manchester.
So you think he legitimately wanted to be fired?
He said he doesn't know if they're going to make any January signings after the current state the team is in. We're having pretty much no quality defenders at this point. And he's saying we don't need anybody in January. Like, he was asking to be fired.
Yeah, well, no quality defenders, I think, is a bit rough because they were one of the best defensive teams last season, right? So something happened, and for me, it was play style. But Christian, let's get your thoughts before I jump in here.
He's a ruthless dictator in the dressing room, and players do not want to play for him because he just breaks you down. I feel like emotionally, mentally, like the players just can't take him for long periods of time, and that's why this third season syndrome continues to plague him in his career.
Well, I also think there are certain players that can work well with him.
Yeah, but we're in a generation where everybody has to be treated real nicely or they're going to collapse. So.
Yeah, he hasn't evolved with the times. And so at one point he
doesn't have John Terry and Drogba anymore.
Yeah.
He has Pogba.
Yeah. At one point he was the best manager in the world, I think, arguably. But that he is no longer in that top tier. And I don't even know if it's second tier just because of just not being able to manage players, which is so important to the modern game. And for me, I predicted he would be gone before the January transfer window. So little pat on the back. I've said that on many podcasts before. I think it was right for United to make this decision. I think it was bold. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer being appointed was an interesting appointment. I didn't know if Michael Carrick would just get that interim tag. So it seems like Solskjaer has gotten the interim tag through the rest of the year, which is interesting that he had a club that he was managing in Norway with Mold, and then he left that to just take over United on an interim basis. So I found that to be kind of interesting. Do you think there's any chance that he gets the full-time job or no? Do you
If they win every game 5-1 throughout the rest of the year, I mean,
Yeah,
it was
is
impressive his first game. So I mean, he started off well. If he, okay, well, Jose, that would have been a nail biter.
Yeah.
I think if he does well, he's going to get a shot, but I don't know. Also, I wanted to bring up just like the jobs. I mean, obviously, they're probably not credible sources, but like the jobs Jose is being linked to now. So like, how is this man like going to other top level jobs? Like I'm seeing like Real Madrid, maybe. Again, I'm seeing like the Portugal national team. I'm seeing.
I think he would do interestingly at national team level.
Was it AC Milan?
Because he wouldn't be with them long term.
Yeah,
it would just be short term, like together.
Yeah, I feel like he would do a good job at an international level.
Yeah,
it is a more defensive setup too in international tournaments.
Yeah, counter.
Yeah,
which France
I actually think I agree, but it's just like funny how he's just like burning out of Man U and just not even worried about his next job probably because somebody's going to want him.
Yeah. Christian, your same thoughts about Solskjaer?
Yeah, no, he's not going to last very long. No. I think the team he came from, Molde, right? Who he came from, they said he'd be back in the summer. They said we're loaning him.
Is that what it is?
Said we're loaning him to Manchester United for the rest of the year. So they said they expect him back this summer, and I think he's doing a really good job there. I think he won the title one year.
Mold, yeah, or
right?
Molde, yeah. I think it's Mold. But I don't know.
And but I don't see him having long-term success at United. I think he's almost like a feel-good factor type of guy they brought in. Okay, he's a former player who scored in the Champions League final in 1999, right? I think he scored the winner in the 92nd, 93rd minute. So he's somebody that they know well at the club. He knows how it works internally. He was under Sir Alex. He said he'll be in contact with Sir Alex throughout his entire reign for the rest of these seasons.
So this is the best case scenario of interim appointment for Manchester United.
But it is not a long term.
Any ideas on who legitimately fits there?
I think they're hardcore going after Pochettino. I think Madrid and United are going to be going after him hard.
I just can't see Poch leaving Tottenham for United at this point.
He would be stupid to, but if they offer
Eddie
him
Howe. Yeah. You think that?
I think if anybody's leaving a team in the league to go up, I think it would be him. And if it's not, it's going to be somebody from outside. I don't think Poch will go there, especially in the state that Tottenham, like how well Tottenham's doing right now.
They're definitely on the rise too.
I think how well Tottenham's doing, and I know like the budget of Man U and the
brand.
Yeah, the brand. You're not going to top that at Tottenham, but at the moment he's doing it. Like if he leaves Tottenham and finishes behind him, like there's no way he keeps his job for more than a year.
Agreed. So I don't know. United's got a lot of things to figure out. So it'll be interesting to see. Christian, the last topic you wanted to talk about before we get to listener questions, you want to throw it out there?
All right. Welcome to our mini Christian's Corner here. So we have a topic about the Man City game. Hopefully you all watched it this weekend, or you've seen the video of what happened. The ball boy ran on.
Of course, that's the video you saw, not the Andres Townsend.
Wait, what is that? What are you talking about?
Which we will talk about later. But
the ball boy ran straight onto the field. The ball was clearly not off the field at the time to try and get it back into play and throw it to Ederson. But it was not out of play. So he picked it up. It ended up being a drop ball. Townsend really didn't want to kick the ball out either to give it back to them, but he ended up doing it. And it was funny because you could see them.
The ref was lecturing him.
Kick the ball out. I know Matt didn't see it, and Dave was driving, so he didn't see it. But you guys have any thoughts on the ball boy?
Matt, City fan?
Hey, stop grabbing balls on the field, kid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you wanted us to talk about.
Yeah, let's bring it up.
Yeah, it was an interesting thing. You don't see it happen too often, but Pep is someone who really trains his ball boys well. You see when they're losing or in the Champions League, what was it against Liverpool? Like he instructed them to like get the balls back into play as quickly as possible. And you could see them taking that advice, or when they're leading, they're very in tune with the game, which, being a Union fan, a lot of times our ball boys are not, and I'm tearing my hair out with that.
Combination of the ball boys and the fans throwing the ball back onto the field.
Oh,
The fans are morons.
But I mean, City was trailing in the game at the time, and so I think it was a product of probably the ball boys being well drilled to keep the tempo up. You got to get the ball back, and just overall awareness. So of them. So props to them. But yeah, you got to be a little bit more careful on that front. You were going to say something else, Matt?
I was just laughing how you phrased it. It's like he's like a dog trainer. I was just like picturing him from that.
Got him trained well.
Talladega Nights.
Well
with
drilled.
the German shepherds. That's how he trains
Step
them.
Brothers?
No. From Talladega Nights with the French guy who trains German shepherds with his husband.
Yeah. Sacha Baron Cohen and Andy Richter, right?
Yes.
All right.
Very good.
So that's what Pep Guardiola is like in his spare time.
Sacha Baron
the ball boys.
Yeah, I know the actors' names. I forget the characters' names.
Yeah.
Jock.
Perchance. Maybe.
Jacques Pierre.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Anything else on these topics before we get to our listener questions?
Nah.
All right. Christian, no? All right. Anything else you guys wanted to talk about before we get to our listener questions from the
Dave,
soccer
it's
world?
just so nice to have you home. Isn't it?
That is so
It's the best.
sweet. Oh my God. It is nice. It is nice to do this podcast in person.
Very generous.
Yeah, all joking aside, it is nice to be here doing this in person, and sad that we're not going to do this again for a while. Matt's moving away. I'll go back to California, and
I'll still be right here
yes,
on this couch.
Yep. Go check out the Soccer Tavern. It's a YouTube channel making videos about the history, culture, and philosophy of the beautiful game. We got it linked in the video description and podcast show notes. All right, listener questions. We had a bunch this week, which is why we really wanted to do this podcast. All right, so first up, at Two Red Gringos, we interviewed them a couple of weeks ago. With Townsend scoring an absolute banger this weekend, what's your favorite worldie from a player you'd never have expected? There we go. I can read. Christian, you want to go first here? I know we talked about this at breakfast the other day.
Yeah, I have mine. It is Alexander Tete from Norwich scored a screamer, and I think it was in the 13-14 season. I'm not 100% sure. Against Sunderland out of the blue. Like, it was insane. A ball dropping straight out of the sky, hit it from about 30 out, hit the far post, and it just drilled it past the Sunderland keeper, who I can't remember who it was at the time.
Yeah, but yeah, that was quite the goal. Matt, any pop to mind for you?
Yeah, so for me, I would go Giovanni van Bronckhorst, the Netherlands left back. Yep. In 2010, I was sitting maybe 5 feet from where I'm sitting right now. And when I was watching that, and I don't think we had HD at the time, or the
Back
one down
in the day.
Yeah, maybe this one wasn't HD. And I was just watching like the ball, he just rips it from 35 out on like the sideline.
The javelin.
And so like you couldn't really tell where the ball was going. It just hits like the perfect intersection. I was like, what did I just watch? Because it wasn't like that clear, and it was just like out of nowhere.
So that was yours. The one that immediately popped to mind for me was Czech Tiote in the Arsenal versus Newcastle match, the 4-4-1. It was his only Premier League goal. And to be honest, I think it was a volley, and I can't really remember it too closely, but I remember it was kind of a ridiculous game. Arsenal led 4-0 within
at the half.
30 minutes of the game, and Newcastle fought back, and that was the tying goal, and that was just a huge one. Special shout out Victor Wanyama against Liverpool. I remember it was Christmas time.
Last year?
I think it was 2 years ago. I don't think it was last year, but
No,
was it last season?
Yeah.
I remember watching it at
2-2.
Yeah. But I just remember watching it, and just that was such a thunder strike. And then special shout out to Carlos Ruiz for the Philadelphia Union. I think it was 2011. He had a free kick and just hit it terribly, and the ball bounced back to him, and then with his left foot from about 30 yards out, it's the greatest Union goal I've ever seen, and just volleyed it out of nowhere and off the underside of the bar. It was just insane.
Only one that I can think that was really, really close to almost going in, hit the inside of the post and bounced out, was Carragher on his last ever game for Liverpool. Remember? Hit that screamer against QPR, hit the inside of the post from like 40 yards out on the half volley. It was insane, but
nice.
Didn't go in. I
in.
wanted to throw that one out.
All right, Matt, any near misses or any others that come to mind before we move on to the next question?
Near misses.
There's lots, so many.
Yeah, I'm sure Messi does it every game
Well,
where dribbles past like 8 people and will narrowly miss.
Yeah. He's quite the player there, that Lionel. All right, next two questions are both kind of the same topic, but at World Hotspur, that's our friend Will, and then at Soccer Swap asked more or less the same questions. Will's question was, after the results this weekend, do Spurs have a legitimate shot to win the Premier League title? And then Soccer Swap sort of said the same question, but also make a Champions League run with their current squad. Matt, let's go to you first. What do you think about Spurs' chances both in the Premier League and in the Champions League?
I think they have a better shot in the Champions League, considering the draw right now and, kind of the table and how Liverpool and City are playing in the league. Yeah, I think that they have a better shot at Champions League, but it's like a jump from like 2 to 4%. I don't think they are anywhere close to the favorites for either competition.
And you don't put anything into, I mean, they're really keeping pace with City and Liverpool and really just kind of waiting in the shadows there because nobody's talking to them about them whatsoever. And I think they're only 6 points back of Liverpool, right?
Yeah, but for me, I haven't watched them play probably in a month live, other than like highlights. And it from when I saw like City play them, it was just like night and day how much more like quality City was, even on the horrible Wembley pitch that day. But I just don't think. Wow, they are way closer than I expected.
Yeah. I mean, except for goal difference. I mean, they're right there. I mean, it's really impressive. Credit to their players, credit to Poch, and it is really impressive. Christian, same question to you. Do they have a shot at winning the Premier League or Champions League?
No and no. I think that they're a good squad, but they have no depth. I really don't rate their bench highly at all. I think their starting lineup is very good, but one of their key players goes down and their team, I think, will fall apart. I think if Kane goes down, obviously they're done. Like, there's no chance they have to win either competition. Eriksen's the same way. He was out for a little bit, but
he's out for a little bit.
He's out for a little bit.
They're still right there, though.
I know, but the run, the games they went on also was not that difficult when he was out. So I think that they do not have the depth to really compete for titles, but they are clearly the third best team, in my opinion, right now in England.
Are they still in all the competitions? Are they in all four? Or did they lose?
No, they lost to Arsenal.
Did they lose to Arsenal?
No. They beat Arsenal. Yeah, the 2-0. Yeah.
No, they're in all four.
They lost in the league to Arsenal, but then they won in the cup competition.
So if they win the quadruple, I'll just jump off a building.
Okay.
All right.
Whoa. All right. We're making guarantees here on this podcast. I mean, they have a shot. Like any team has a shot, right? If they stay healthy and if they get, advantageous draw in the Champions League, there's a possibility. Like Matt said, I think it's a slight possibility in the Champions League because I would put at least 4 teams definitely better than them. And, you could argue
probably another 4.
Yeah. I mean, somewhere in that neighborhood, they're probably in, we talked about that last podcast. I think when we were doing the Champions League, they were in that third tier for me, along with Dortmund, who they're facing, and Atletico I put ahead of them. But yeah, they're in that kind of third tier. They're really, really talented though, they're really talented. And I think if they lose Kane, that would be a huge one to overcome. And they're a little bit, I just feel like Vertonghen's getting older and, Davinson Sanchez, at least I haven't watched a ton of them, but he hasn't been playing quite as much. At least I don't recall seeing him as much.
I don't think so. Because Toby's healthy again.
Yeah, and Toby's there. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think that they could make a run in the Champions League. Toby. But
Toby.
The Premier League, League's so tough because far and away City is the best team. They have the most depth and most talent. And from my perspective, being a Liverpool fan, and then as a Liverpool fan, I think that Liverpool
they're
just
talent and depth is also
is better. But if they get an injury to either Salah, or Virgil
the whole season,
it'd be tough. But I don't want to say nothing isn't possible, but it's tough to see Spurs winning either the Champions League or Premier League this year, just given how well City and Liverpool are playing. All right, anything else, guys?
Nope.
Matt?
No.
All right, last question is from @GameDayTourist. Gary Neville seems to be using his position as a commentator / pundit to push a Poch to United agenda. So should ex-pros turn journalists be impartial, or is it okay to display a clear preference / agenda for a former team? Christian, you first. What do you think?
I think it's fine to show that you are a little bit swayed towards the team that he represented for his entire career, but I think that it should be within reason, at least a little bit. I don't think he should be pushing anything onto people who are watching the show. It's okay if people see, okay, he's a United fan. Yeah, obviously he is, because that's where he played his entire career. But when you start continuously just saying the same thing over again and trying to convince people this is the only option and like trying to sway people's opinions, that's when it gets a little bit shady in my opinion.
Yeah, like leveraging your power in that position. Matt, thoughts here?
I mean, I'm fine with him like somewhat rooting for United, but pushing like the agenda, I don't think is right, especially with like the power the media has and like the influence they have. There's a lot of like questions, like there's just like a lot of things like the media can influence where I think it's kind of like tampering, and it's so annoying how like players and managers aren't allowed to respond to a lot of. We were talking about
we were talking about with LeBron, but
we were talking about a couple players and like we were talking
Pep. Well, it happened with Pep, right? With like referees or something recently, where you're asked a specific question, and like the guy's just responding to the specific question, but because the question was worded in a certain way, he technically, by the rules, wasn't allowed to answer it. And so I think that there needs to be...
Why are journalists allowed to answer
exactly. It? Or like, I don't know if a press officer can step in or if it's their job to just say, hey, we can't answer that, or what the deal is. But I don't know. I'm fine if a person is asked directly and it's not clearly going out of their way to push a certain agenda or like legitimately try to convince somebody to join the club that, is clearly against the rules. I'm okay with somebody just answering a question when they're asked directly.
It's like when the media announced that Arsene Wenger was a Milan manager, and like, it was all over the place, and all of a sudden it was like, what are you talking about? Gattuso's still manager.
Is he still there?
Yeah.
I remember. We were about to talk about that on one of the podcasts, and then it all came out that he didn't leave. But yeah, Matt, I agree with you that is a frustrating thing too. But getting back to the Gary Neville situation, I mean, I'm on board with you guys. I'm okay with showing a little bit of bias. I mean, the guy played there his entire career. I think it would be unreasonable to expect that he doesn't have some feelings towards them. But for him to overtly sort of push, that agenda and really try to, whether it's convince or change the narrative, I think is a little bit too much. It's one thing to kind of root for a team. I know we talked about Stu Holden and Steve Nash commentating, and Steve Nash being a Tottenham fan and clearly on air sort of rooting for them. That may have been a little bit much. But with Gary, I want to say that he's on TV, often, whether it's every day or every few days. And so he could really sort of influence things if he's constantly pushing a certain agenda. You were going to say something?
Yeah, he also, he'll show his dislike for Liverpool. And then I was going to say, imagine Christian as a pundit talking about the other teams in Liverpool.
Yeah.
That'd be fantastic.
That'd be exciting to see. But yeah. I got Christian, anything else to add?
Yes, I'm very knowledgeable.
Yes,
and I'm very calm.
Yeah.
And I would be very good at that.
Yes.
Very moderate in how you view other teams.
Exactly.
And your own.
I'd be fine if it was during a game.
I don't think so, because we do this podcast, and whether it's Jose Mourinho or Raheem Sterling, you get in a shot at each of them every episode. All right. And we're not, where's that?
What?
You're not playing, you're not watching anything, you're coming from a level head.
Yeah, I said it very calmly.
There you go. Matt, anything else to add?
Nah.
Christian, you want to recap our trivia question? We'll give our guesses. Oh my God, that's fantastic.
All right. So in the last 2 seasons, Mo Salah has the most assists and goals in one game. Okay.
So
Premier League?
Premier League.
Okay.
Games with an assist and a goal.
Yes.
That was the weirdest way to phrase
these questions. So
I try and throw people off.
Yes, I know you do.
So how many is it?
Okay. So there's been about 50 games, I'll walk through my logic. There's been about 50 or so games, maybe 55. I know he scored in close to 40 of
19. Dave goes through his logic.
He scored. This is how you answer interview questions. I know he scored in probably close to 40 of them, 40 to 45, I'd say. And to also pick up an assist, I'll say 11.
Wow, it's a big disparity there, guys. And you both overshot it. It is 8.
Okay. But I overshot it less, so I technically won.
No, it's Price is Right rules.
Didn't know that. Listeners, hopefully you did better than we did. If you liked what you heard here, please consider leaving us a review on whatever podcasting platform you listen to us on. It's super easy to do and really, really helps us out. It would mean a lot to us. Christian, can you tell people a little bit about our Slack channel and how they can join?
I would love to. So you got to email us at bros.talking. Nope, just kidding. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com.
Or you can send us a tweet.
Or tweet at us, at BT Soccer Pod. And let us know that you want to be part of our Slack channel. So the way that Slack works, for all of you that don't know yet, is that we have this universe that is all soccer related. Although we do have a general section where you can talk about Christmas cookies, apparently, we did, or Christmas movies.
Yep, and we got some Slacks while we've been recording here.
Okay, great. I like that. So there's all different categories, such as we have an MLS, we have Premier League, we have all the different top 5 leagues, we have League MX, we have international soccer, Champions League, we've got different we got feedback. If you got feedback for us, we got FIFA gaming, we've got our podcasts, we've got all different kinds of stuff. Yeah, just throwing it out there. So please let us know if you want to join. We'd love to interact with you. You can interact with any of us as well as anyone else who is listening.
Hopefully we'll get Matt on there.
Matt doesn't like you.
Hopefully we'll get Matt on there sometime soon. Matt, where can people find us? Just remind people. Christian just told them.
Yeah, so on Twitter at BT Soccer Pod. Our email is bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com. Website brostalkingsoccerpodcast.com. Read about us, check out past episodes, and we have a store. Amazon store link.
Yep. Amazon store link. Yep.
Wow, that's actually a way to phrase it. Where you can go use our store link, purchase something from Amazon, no additional cost to you. We just get a small percentage of that. Really helps out the show, and you'd be just the best person ever.
Yes, you would be. And that, it's just on our website. Click the store link and then click over to Amazon. Yes, I need to work on the sweatshirt design. Sometime in January or February, we're going to do a sweatshirt sale. So let us know if you have suggestions on designs. I know Christian has one, and I'll be designing one, and then we'll put a vote out on Twitter. Are you actually going to sketch it out, or are you entrusting it to me to sketch out?
I know you did it already.
I sketched it out, but I need to redo it.
I agree. You have to redo it.
Yeah, and then I also want to get people's feedback, because I would love it if people would buy them. Because our last sale, we got some sales, which I appreciate, but it was mostly family members and a few friends, which I appreciate. But hopefully we get something that listeners would
randoms.
Like. Yeah, that listeners would also like. And so if you have suggestions, let us know. Matt, if you got a design, let us know. We'll put it out there, and then you guys can vote on it. Christian, thank you for being with me on Christmas Eve and talking.
Dave, it's been my pleasure to be on your podcast on your Christmas Eve.
Matt, thanks for being here. Hopefully you're awake, and thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me on your podcast.
All right. Listeners, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you all have a Merry Christmas. The dogs are saying goodbye, and thanks for joining us here, and we'll talk to you.
Are they saying woof, 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 or ho, ho, ho?
Very soon. All right. See everybody. Okay. People that have joined on YouTube, thanks for stopping by. This was a lot of fun, and we'll talk to you sometime soon.
Maybe.
Bye-bye.
Bye.